Hi, everybody, and welcome to Evolve Love. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so happy that you have found this podcast. Are you looking for daily inspiration, motivation, and wisdom to help you begin your day feeling supported and uplifted with love? Well, you have come to the right place. This podcast is a space of encouragement where you can be held in your self-development because in order to evolve, you need love, and it begins here with you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday and welcome back to Evolve Love. I hope that you have had a wonderful week. I hope that your week was full of releasing the people-pleasing tendencies that you may be holding on to, and also knowing that it's not that easy. It's not easy to say that I release all people-pleasing tendencies if that is what you choose to do, because it is something that has been a part of us, for many of us, for a very long time. And in today's episode, being Venus Day, I really wanted to highlight some of the ways that we can remind ourselves of the beauty of our choice of how to live. And this is what we're going to talk about in today's episode. But before we get into that, I just want to mention that this weekend, my Virgo season newsletter is coming out, and I can't believe it's already going to be Virgo season. I feel like I was just putting the Leo season newsletter out. But if you haven't already subscribed, I highly recommend it. It is completely free, and this email is full of tools, resources, tips, ideas, and it's all completely free. So it is a beautiful, supportive newsletter. I highly recommend you subscribing. The link is in my bio on my Instagram at _evolve love. And this newsletter also holds big news about Evolve Love and about the season ahead. I announce my classes that are coming up if anyone is interested, and I also talk a little bit more about my vision for the Evolve Love space, which is a private Facebook group that you are welcome to join, and that is also at the link in my bio on my Instagram at _evolve love. And make sure you're following along there on the Instagram too, because I share a lot there as well. And more is coming. I have heard your wants, I have heard your calls, and all of the things of continuing this supportive energy outside of the podcast space. So we're not just here for episodes, we are here to extend the learning that we are developing and the evolvement that we are living through with this podcast space. And so the other beautiful part about this too is that there's more support from others, from other like-minded people that are going through similar journeys on their own evolvement, right? So it is such a beautiful space. And if you would like to join, it is such a beautiful energy. I post there daily, or try to, in ways that are going to support you and different ideas that you can take into your day. So I highly recommend you checking that out if you are called to. All right, so today, the moon is in Sagittarius today, and this week where we're talking a lot about people pleasing, I did want to take a step back and think about our inner child and our inner teen selves. And the reason why is because Sagittarius is more of a philosophical sign. It's a sign of adventure, a sign of travel. And with this sign, you wouldn't go back to inner child, inner teen when you're talking about Sagittarius. Those themes tend to go along with other zodiac signs. But the reason I do is because I want us to remember the wonder, the dreamlike energy, the I could go anywhere, I could do anything feels of your inner child and your inner teen self. And the reason why is because I think that a lot of our people-pleasing tendencies came about from those eras of our life. And today, in this day, asking yourself, how much of your purpose that you're living now began in childhood and in your teen years. Because when we think about it, a lot of the times we may have started with a goal. Are you living the purpose that you set out for yourself at that age? I know for so many, like with teachers, if you ever hear like a school teacher talk about their journey or any type of teacher, they may say that they've always known they were going to be a teacher. You may hear that I always wanted to help people. So even at such a young age, we have started to build our purpose, even without realizing that that is what we were doing. And along with that, as we went from that child purpose into the teen years, we started to add pressure with that. And the pressure didn't necessarily come from ourselves. It may have come from others. So now it's not only what are you going to do, but it's how are you going to make money? How are you going to be successful? Are you going to college? What college are you going to? All of these things. And then all of a sudden, the classes you take in your schooling don't necessarily go along with what you're interested in, but what would look good to get you into these places, to get you into these doors, doing the things that you felt was part of your purpose path. And then so many of us hit different ages in adulthood where we begin to question our paths and begin to question our purpose. And so with Sagittarius as our sign, when we talk about this, like the philosophy and the exploration, where can we bring that childlike exploration back into our day? Because I think there's a lot of beauty there. What were the things that you enjoyed as a child? Or do you remember as a child what you wanted to be when you grew up? For myself, I wanted to be a dance teacher. I always knew that I wanted to be a dance teacher, but there were different years. Like I definitely went on like a roller coaster of years where I thought, okay, well, I need to be something more than a dance teacher. Or I would hear and put limiting beliefs on dance teaching, like dance teaching is not going to make me enough money, or dance teaching is a hobby, it's not a career. These were things that people said to me. These were identities that I took on. And it was really difficult because then I began to question, so much so that when it came time for me to graduate high school and move on to college and university, I switched my mind and thought, I'm going to go into physical therapy because that seems like a really strong career. It seems like one that is in need, and I can use my physical therapy background for dancers. I started off with that. I started off with my physical therapy track. I even, branched off into athletic training, all the while still having dance as my minor. And with that, I was able to think like, oh, okay, well then I'll still be able to maybe teach dance. Because at the heart of it, I still just really wanted to teach dance. Like that was so, so important to me. And growing up too, as a little kid, I always had the interest in being a school teacher. So much so that I would play school with my sister on snow days or like on summer vacation days. We would play school. And I remember we begged my mom to get us a whiteboard because we just wanted to be able to use the dry erase markers on the whiteboard. So all of these things are like flooding my memory right now about the things that I thought of what I should do and what was on my heart. Now, I'm happy to say that at the end of the day, I followed my heart path and I did become a dance teacher. And so much of my career is passion-filled and love-centered and heart-centered. And though it hasn't been easy, I love what I do. And I love how I've now branched into another part of me that I have kept hidden for a long time in a sense, because these, what I'm doing here with Evolve Love, these were all interests. These were all things I dove really deep into, but I never thought it would amount to something, because how could I do something with these interests and with this knowledge that I've built and with, all the years that I've had diving into these different subjects? How could I use that into a new platform or area of my purpose path? And it is so beautifully unfolding for me. I see how my experience as a dance teacher has helped me to get to this point. I see how my experience as a podcast host has gotten me to this point. And now I'm sharing what is really, truly on my heart. And I'm not holding back. And that is such a beautiful thing. But the thing is where do you hold back? Because I still feel like I'm holding back, even though I have unleashed and allowed this new part of me to be seen and to be shown and to be shared. I'm still nervous. I still hold back a lot of me. And a part of this is because a lot of the times it has to do with people pleasing. And I remember back to inner child life, inner teen life, like I was saying, when was it that in childhood or in your teen years, did you all of a sudden feel the notion that you didn't want to be too big? You didn't want to be too loud. You didn't want to be too inconvenient. This is that people pleasing, right? And now in my life, I also see that as being inconvenient. I don't want to be inconvenient to anyone by following my dreams or working on, these new things that I have really opened up, like I said, in my heart and body, mind, and soul, truly. And what I realize is that I need to honor what is on my heart. There is nothing more beautiful. Here we are talking about Venus Day, which is all about love, energy, beauty, and more. There is nothing more beautiful than following what is on your heart. This is your life. And yes, you are a role for so many other people in your life. You are a figure for so many other people in your life, but this is your life. So how are you going to get back to the root of those things that lit your heart up, that made you feel like you wanted to go for something? What were the things that were shut down for you that seemed too big or not good enough, or this is you're being too loud. This is too much. This is too much, right? How can we reconnect with those things to help us to find more on our purpose path? So whether you do some journaling with this, do some thinking, do some thoughts with this today, the whole point of this exercise and these words and these ideas is to know how beautiful it is to listen to your heart and to live life for you and to be you for you. So with today's episode, I hope that it gives you some of that power back, and I hope that it reminds you of where people pleasing, when we allow that to be released, when we allow to let go of that, what we pull back, what is underneath that is more of our authentic selves and living in authenticity and just being so bravely and proudly you. So I want to thank you all so much for being here this week. I hope that this week of episodes really helped you to get your power back. I'm so looking forward to checking in with you next week. And don't forget, there's so much coming up this weekend for Evolve Love. So subscribe for the newsletter, get all the information, check out the Facebook group if you haven't already. And if you feel called to reach out to a friend about the message of Evolve Love and what these episodes do for you on a given day, I would so very much appreciate that. And really make sure you hit the follow button for the podcast on the platform of your choice, because that really helps us to continue to be seen by others who are looking for content just like this. All right, everybody, I hope you have an incredible weekend, and I will check back with you on Monday.